Well, welcome back to another episode of Love Sis. I'm so excited to be here with my beautiful friend Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Thank you. Hi, lady. Love you.
I'm so excited we have a new guest today. I haven't done an interview in so long, but we just thought we'd come and have a conversation with you guys and just talk to you and hopefully just encourage you. We want to have like a beautiful, encouraging message. And Amanda's just such a beautiful person and such a beautiful friend to me. And we just have such a sweet friendship. And I'm pretty sure we were just talking at coffee and we're like, wait, why don't we just like talk about this on a podcast or something?
Yeah, like all of our conversations.
Yeah, no, I know. Literally, like all of our conversations.
Or many people feel that way.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
When you're really just in that flow place with people,
totally.
And speaking truth.
Yeah, so I think you guys probably know of her from, if you know me, we've done an event together called Healthy Girl Diaries, and we want to talk to you guys about that. And she's just a beautiful mom, a beautiful friend, sister, daughter, and she's an author, she's an amazing speaker, and she's a life coach. So you have a lot of things under your belt, which we're going to dive into. But first, just starting off everything, I kind of just wanted to ask you, how have you been and how is everything going? And yeah, we'll talk a lot about motherhood and just really relatable topics, just very easy conversation. So
That, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you.
Thank you. I know. Thank you. Do you have any advice? Because I'm literally like, it's so hard not to be like,
I know.
it's overwhelming, but it's
beautiful.
Fun. Yeah,
like
it's beautiful.
Yeah. You're going to let it be easy and enjoyable and beautiful. Yeah. You just deserve this. So
yeah. And Amanda is Italian too. Well, her husband is he 100% or is he?
Yeah.
He's 100% Italian. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we have that in common, which we always love to talk about. We have that side of us. It's nice for someone to relate to you with that.
Yeah. And
nice.
we met.
I know.
It's been like 4 years now,
right?
Right?
Yeah. So I remember my mom. I remember I came home one day from school, and my mom was like, I was going through a lot with my friends, and I was just like really stressed out in college, and my mom was like, you have to meet this girl. Her name's Amanda. She's young. She's so pretty. She's so nice. Like she was like, she's a life coach, and she's like, she reminds me so much of you. Like you guys would totally hit it off. And I was like, yeah. So I'm pretty sure. I think I just like reached out, and like because the Italians, like everybody my family knows your family.
Yeah.
The DiNardos, they know them. So and then a lot of people had mutuals because you were a guidance counselor, correct?
Yes. Yep.
In East Long Meadow.
Yep. So I worked as a counselor in East Long Meadow for years and years and loved it.
I know. I'd love to get into that too. So I just remember having a lot of commonalities, and then everybody was just like, oh my gosh, she's so sweet. And then I don't know. I think I did like a coach. Did I? I coached with you.
Yep.
And I remember that was nice.
And that's what I keep saying. Like everything that you wanted back then, it's just come to you in such beautiful ways. And not that it hasn't been challenging or you haven't had to feel all the feels, but just your obedience has been just beautiful to watch.
I remember when you called me a couple months ago and you were like, we were just talking. And then you were just like, I have seen your life just like unfold, like everything you've said you've prayed about. And like, you're like, how? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just, it's like amazing.
It's amazing. It's a miraculous and beautiful, your testimony. Yeah. So
all
good.
God. It's God, and it's all the power of God and prayer, but it is also obedience, like to God. And there's a lot I've had to give up that I don't think a lot of people have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And do we always show those moments of our lives? It's so hard to, when you're crying, I'm not the first one to pick the camera up. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, you don't want to see me ugly.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think you want to see me
ugly.
with snot down my face, but my mom has often. And I just don't, it comes with a set of challenges, but the work is so beautiful. Like when you just partner with God and He does the work. I used to think I had to do the work.
Yeah.
He does the work, but you do partner with God. And so like when you partner with God and you like are like, okay, I really surrender my life, and I surrender even I've surrendered my dreams. Like honestly, people see my life as a huge blessing, and it is a blessing, and everything I'm doing is beautiful. But if you were to ask me when I was like 15 if this is what I would be doing, or if this is even what I wanted to do, I would have literally looked at you like you were insane. Like
yes.
I would have I didn't grow up in like a Christian based house. I just thought I was gonna be, I don't know, an influencer, or I love fashion, so I always wanted to do some type of designing or move to New York or California, like, which God will use your gifts and your talents, but your life essentially, His ways are higher. And I've still always had a hard time with like, okay, like I want it this way, but God, you know best, right? And And to think that if I could have had all that without Jesus, I don't know where I would have been I don't know what I would have done. I would have been lost beyond. And
I think that's why there are so many people that feel lost and stuck. Like I always hear that, like lost, stuck, kind of just in that despair place. Because there isn't that hope. And if you're not partnering with God, it just feels like this heavy burden to bear, right?
Oh my gosh.
Heavier. And
I think that's what a big misunderstanding about Christianity or even just Jesus, I think is, so I saw, my mom sent me a video of a girl the other day, and she said in the TikTok video, she was crying, and she goes, I don't understand. I have been walking with God. I just started walking with him and everything. I love him so much, but my life has only gotten harder. And I think there's this misconception with that, with having a relationship with God, that your life is going to be easy and you're not going to go through hard things and you're not going to experience pain or trials or tribulations. But I just want to inform you really quickly with love. Like that is not true. And I don't know who told you that, because I used to think the exact same thing, and it couldn't be further from the truth. The difference is that you walk through life here on earth is going to have pain, suffering, trials, because we're not in heaven. It's a fallen world. It's life. And we've seen that because we see the tragedies, we see the babies passing away, we see everything happening. And a lot of people want to blame God, but it's not his fault. We live in a broken world. And if we can understand that in our thinking and remember that we live in a broken world, we'll remember that God is going to be there with us through the trials. And I know you can testify to that. So what are some challenges maybe you've had in life that you think that you've had, you've had trials but you've seen God amidst of them?
Yeah. Wow. I could start.
I know.
Just because it is powerful and beautiful when you really give that glory to him, even in the midst of obstacles. And like I grew up in a home where there was, and I speak about this in my book openly, I do a lot of work with my clients around this. It's not, when we can retell our story and dive into the emotional pain of that, really actually feeling it without judgment. Your trauma story becomes almost like this boring story, if you will. So I share this very openly. I have no judgment, no fear of judgment at all. I know God, even though it was very painful to watch my parents be in the relationship that they engaged in with like domestic violence and alcoholism. I knew God was always working in me. Like I had to be that resilient, strong. I was the oldest. So even just then, I just knew from a young age that I was just made for more.
And even that, I'm the oldest as well. So I can understand almost that type of leader that you want to be. Cause I know you and I are very similar in that way. And I think when you have that in you, you're very protective probably. And just you're very you're probably very loyal to your family and you just want the best for everybody. And you kind of, childhood is everything. I don't know if people know that, but childhood is everything. It's where a lot of our trauma stems from. Generational trauma, the way we were raised by our parents is everything. And so, continue talking to me.
Well, yeah. And I love that you just said that, because partnering with God in your, as a mom, as a wife, right? That's so important, because if you're not sturdy, your kids feel that. If you're not sturdy, your partner feels that. You have to trust yourself, but you're trusting yourself in the flesh, because you have the power and the Holy Spirit guiding you, and you get to lean on that.
Yeah, and you're doing what you can with the mistakes that maybe you grew up with that you don't want to repeat. So what are some parallels? So because we can kind of talk. We were just talking. This is so.
I know off camera we're talking.
No,
but
about we were just talking about this, about how you're raised and your kids, and so you actually said something upstairs about your daughter that I loved about the technology thing. So what's something different though that you're doing that you're, maybe you grew up in a little dysfunction. What are some things that you try to do to make sure your kids maybe don't have that same pattern, that generational pattern? So
there's one thing that I think, even just when you are experiencing pain as a child, or you've had trauma or anything, right? And again, there's so many people that have those resilient thoughts, but it's, if I don't want that, then what do I want? Right. So I knew I wanted this loving, beautiful home where we laugh and play and enjoy, and I'm loving up on my husband, and my kids see that. And I don't sit in bitterness or resentment, because we have healthy conversations and open dialogue, even when it's hard. And
that's the work
that's the work that people don't want to do.
I know. Why? I want to stay there. Why? I don't know. Why do you think? It's painful. I think me as someone doing it's hard. And I think it causes a lot of emotional, I don't want to say stress, but almost this Like I know for me, like when I've started facing all my trauma and facing myself and healing, like I'm in a journey of healing. I have been for about 3 years, and it is so different. Like I do think I actually lost like a little weight. I didn't even mean to. I think things come to the surface, and I think you have to give yourself so much grace because you're like you feel so naked and open and like upon God. And I'm just like, I didn't even know this about me. It's just always something. Honestly, ever since I've walked with God, there's something called sanctification. And it's like he just is opening you and cutting you, not to leave you that way, which is what some people can think, but to heal you. But we have to be open to facing ourselves, and we have to be open to even letting our friends, our trusted, true people who know us, call us higher with love. Like, hey, am I like this? Like, am I selfish? Like a heart check.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
And I think that's the hard part, because there's so much pride within humanity.
Yep.
And I know for me, it's hard to hear things about yourself that you are not aware of. Like, you're like, wait.
Well, think about that in a relationship or in your home while you're raising kids. Like it's so easy to fall into that prideful place or that selfish place or taking it personally. This is about me. Like you're frustrating me, or you're putting me in a bad position, or and when we stop taking it so personally, and that's the mindset work, that's renewing your mind every day. And this is where my work is so powerful in that it's all anchored in biblical principles. And
it's amazing what you do. What you do is amazing, because instead of being a victim, you're being victorious in your life. Because I said this to you the other day at coffee. I was like, I think people who have childhood trauma don't come from a biblical background. It's not in their home, and they overcome that, and then they teach their kids to not be in that dysfunction to the best of their abilities. I think those people, I literally look at them as superheroes. Like, I think you are 1% of the world, and you are an amazing, incredible person. Because I value that. Because that is hard to do, because I'm doing it, and I'm not trying to say that that's, but I do respect myself in that area. Like, I do.
Listen,
I think
and this is what we're teaching through Healthy Girl Diaries. Like, you have to walk in that place of respecting yourself and loving yourself. And it's not selfish, like self-love. It's
so
true love of who you
are,
right?
I'm so big on this topic, because there's a lot of, there's just a lot of different types of views that Christians talk about self-love. I hear a lot of the times the church just be like, self-love is selfish and self-love is all about self. And I just want to say, from the revelations God has given me, it says, love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot love someone if you do not love yourself. If God does not reveal himself in your heart, and your identity is not rooted in him, and you don't love God within you or who he's created you to be, and you don't forgive yourself, and you walk with freedom and not shame, you cannot tell me that you're going to love someone better than yourself. That's why it says love your neighbor as yourself, meaning you need to have a level of self-love. You are not called to be self-absorbed or selfish. And make your life about yourself, because I've lived a selfish life, and it is the most unfulfilling life. I've done all of the things. I have put myself first all the time, and I do still put myself first, but I'm saying I have neglected myself for the sake of others also, and it only leaves me feeling burnt out. And I think there's just a level of balance with that, where I've also lived a life of selfishness where I just basically did everything for all the things, all of the whatever. And I never served anyone. And it just was all about Vanessa. And it was very empty. It just was like, I have nothing. And honestly, the best feeling in life, is serving others when God fills you. You cannot serve, you cannot give what you do not have. Yeah. And I want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, even serving in your home, right? Cooking meals. Like I try to cook dinner almost every night.
Yes.
People are like, they get takeout and all scatter around the house. Like I just value that. Again, like all the things that you don't want and what do I want, right? But that's an act of service. I'm feeding my family a meal. We don't have to make it, I'm tasked with all these things. No, it's beautiful. And that's, again, a thought shift.
I want to sit on that, because that's so important. I remember in my life, I used to be so consumed with perception of my life. Like I was very, I'm trying to think of the word, but basically when you're discontent, I was always discontent. Like nothing was enough. It didn't matter if I had the best day. It didn't matter who I'd see, if I had the best accomplishments, nothing. It never felt like enough. And so I realized, like, wow, Vanessa, you have a very discontent heart. Like, you're not grateful, and you're not looking at life as a blessing.
Yeah.
And you're not cherishing anything. You're very disgrateful. And with that came so much comparison. So much, like, just so much, like, just looking at social media and thinking like I was missing out on something, when the whole time I had everything I've ever wanted underneath my nose, and I just never saw it. And so I don't know, have you ever struggled with that? How have you overcome that? Because this keeping up with the Joneses type of thing is so unrealistic with social media.
So bad. And
yeah, what are
some days I feel like.
So how do you stand so firm in that? Was there a time where you ever used to care about others' opinions of you or validation? How did you kind of break free from that? And how, I'm sure it's still something, maybe, I don't know, talk to me about that, if it's something you still ever struggle with.
Yeah, honestly, Vanessa, I really feel, and I don't know, I just feel like I trust myself, and I trust the Lord.
Do, you're really good at that.
I really, really do. And
how do you find that, like, worthy? Because I do look up to you for that. Like, you are, like, I feel like you know who you are, and you take action, and you show up.
Yeah.
But how do you, like, not... How did you, if you grew up in a family that you weren't really, like, affirmed in that area, how did you, like, overcome that? You just believe it. Like, you believe that you are worth more. Like, you believe, like, you're here for a purpose and you have to do it. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's truly the beliefs that I've just, like, built over a lifetime. Like, even when I was, like, dating, and I said to myself, I am so worthy of a man who adores me, and I will not settle. And I committed to that decision. And literally 2 months later, I met my husband. Like, God moves mountains when you surrender, and I've seen that so many times. My sister with addiction, like, just giving it to him and trusting that he's got it, it builds trust in you. It builds belief in you. So I think just the experiences I've had have allowed me to really walk in that.
Yeah, I love that. I think, too, I love when you keep saying, like, I decided. I think that is everything. I truly do. I think a lot of people aren't hearing that as much as, I know I'm not. When I hear, there was a pastor who once said, where I go to church, he said a sermon about the light and the darkness. And he said, God gives you a choice, and you have to decide. So why do you not feel worthy enough to choose the light? What is it in you that you're choosing? You know, we choose to be bitter. Like, we make these, Jesus says not to, but we choose to. And I know it's hard, but deep down, like, why do we, sometimes I think, Amanda, I'm speaking of myself, I think we deserve that. Because we're not allowing to walk in the full freedom of God's forgiveness. I think I know for me, if any time I've ever been like that, it's because I feel like I don't deserve it. And you know what? I don't. But God died on the cross for me to live that. And if I'm looking at myself, see, I'm looking at self, and I'm not looking, my eyes are fixed on heaven and on Jesus, then I am only going to self-loathe and self-spiral. But if I look at Jesus, he says I don't have a debt to pay because he paid the price. And I just think it's hard for people to understand that kind of love. I think it's an unconditional, unhuman, unfathomable kind of love. If you really think about that, you know, that he paid the price and he doesn't remember you as your sin anymore, and you get to just walk in that freedom, and good things get to happen to you. Because why can't we allow ourselves to be happy?
You know what? That's one of the thoughts that I would just, like, repeat to myself on, like, literally on repeat. Like,
me too.
If God gave me if I can speak bad over myself and negative over myself, why can't I speak good over myself? What do you think God would prefer? Like, again, because we're saved by...
Like, do we think that he, like, is happy when we're doing that? No, he's so hurt. He doesn't... It's because, you know, I really believe it's because when we start to do that, I just can't imagine Jesus, like, feeling like he died such a painful death for us, knowing we're flawed, knowing that we are human, like, knowing how sinful we were, but he still decided to die for us, and that's how much he loves us. And so it's almost like it must make him feel like us saying, no, I'm not going to forgive myself because what you did on the cross isn't enough for me. So I'm just going to sit here and self-loathe and self-victim, because I'm not going to take that's when the power and the authority of Christ comes in our lives and actually works through us, that we can start to forgive ourselves from whatever has happened in our lives, or forgive others for that sake. Forgive our family members. Forgive the people who've wronged us, so that we can be set free. And then we then can walk in the freedom, because Jesus only wants to use our lives for good.
Yeah.
So I'm so passionate about that.
walk in that God-given authority too, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're in forgiveness, and
Yeah.
you're walking in light, and you're
Right.
speaking
Yes.
truth over yourself,
Right.
in terms of really
Yeah.
who you are in the Lord. Like,
Truly, yeah. So what are some things, like, how do you speak truth over yourself, and like that renewing of the mind? Like, how did that process start for you? When did you realize, like, I have I shouldn't say bad, but I have a negative mindset, or I don't want to be like this? And what are some tangible practices and things that you do?
I think, well, same thing as you, right? I think I was
Yeah.
just so self-serving that I felt so discontent, and I'm like, I have everything I prayed for.
Right.
Healthy children,
Yeah.
a beautiful husband,
Right.
like a beautiful home,
Like, we're
all
so
the
blessed.
things. I'm
Like,
so blessed.
yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
So just like doing that inner work of like, check my heart, God, like what is
Right.
happening?
Yeah.
And then I've just been like nudged along the way,
Yeah.
to really,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think it comes, what I'm feeling is it's a place of humility. If we can't be humble and we can't be honest with the Lord and with ourselves, then how are we ever going to grow?
yeah. And how do you ever get to gratitude?
Right.
Right?
Like how, right. And so some things I do for gratitude is like even every day, like in the morning, I have my journal time, and I'm actually curious I love knowing I don't know if I'm just nosy, or I like to know what people do. Like, I'm like, when I see someone like so beautiful and radiant and just like kind, and so curious as to like what does your quiet time look like, or what does your time with God, or are you an introvert or like extrovert?
I'm definitely an extrovert. Like,
Yeah, I know. But you
like,
know what's funny? Because I'm an extrovert as well, because I'm very bubbly.
Yes.
And I love people, but I love to be alone.
I love to be alone,
almost
too.
wonder if I am actually like an introvert. I wonder if can I be both? Because
Yeah.
I crave being alone. So do you, because you're a mom and you have two
Yep.
beautiful children, and you're balancing a business, and you're speaking, and you're also doing the most important job, which is a mom, and you are a wife. So how do you literally balance it all? Like, do you have any practices or tangible things that anybody can take from today and just pluck it into their, like, do you
Yeah.
wake up at a certain time? Are you really big on sleep? Like, what are some like tangible things that you might do?
This is something I've thought about, just because I watch so many women kind of just
Yeah.
be in the busy, like, hustle
Yeah.
grind place, and
Yeah.
they like say like, well, I don't have time, and I have some
Right.
things, and
Right.
that just becomes such
Yeah,
an
like,
excuse making place, and then you
so
just
true.
feel ick.
Mm.
Jesus would spend time restoring.
Yeah.
He would leave and go into the wilderness. Like,
Yeah.
we all need that.
Yeah.
So I really, same thing. Like, I love to be around people, but I love to be alone. I like
Yeah.
my restoration time. So I'll
Yes.
find it where I can. I get up early.
It's amazing.
Just
Yeah.
say like to my husband, hey, can you take the kids
Yeah.
this morning?
I
Just because
need-
I need that time, and I
Yeah.
just want to like get things in order or whatever.
Right.
Being planful, I think, is really important
Totally.
too. Like, yeah. But going back, something you said earlier, and I think this would really serve your listeners.
Yeah.
When I was a counselor, I used to do this activity. I talk about it in my book. Actually, did I talk? No, I didn't share this in my book. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
share it.
Oh my gosh,
Share
so
it
funny.
with the world.
I used to do a girls group, and this was at the time where I was doing a lot of work of renewing my mind and
Yeah.
choosing my thoughts and building beliefs, and
Right.
really starting to read the gospel and
Yeah.
building that relationship with Jesus. But I would do this ranking traits exercise where the idea was that you were supposed to list 10 traits.
Okay.
But these young women could only list 3. So the idea is when
Wow.
you got to the 10th trait,
Right.
typically that's like procrastination. There's like less
Yes.
than ideal, right?
Right.
And then if you pull that away, okay, well, what do you look like when you're not procrastinating? Oh, I would
Wow.
love that, right? Like,
Right.
but we couldn't even get to 10.
Wow.
They could only list 2 or 3 things.
So list 10 things that limit
Make you, like,
Oh,
that are
make you
unique
you.
to you, that are
Good or
just like
bad?
10 characteristics, 10
Okay.
traits that
10
you would
traits.
identify with, or friends would say about you, whatever.
Okay.
They could only get to 3.
Wow.
So in that, like,
Yeah.
think about that. So if you can't speak to your strengths,
Right.
and
Or if
this
you
is-
don't know yourself enough.
if you don't know yourself through Christ,
Yeah. Wow.
you are not going to be able to speak to that. Then you
That's
can't
so
believe it,
good.
and then you don't walk in
That's
that.
identity.
That's identity.
That's my whole testimony.
Oh
Like,
my
literally,
gosh.
I just think so many people, because I know myself, I used to for so long, and I still have to. If I didn't know Jesus, I would 1,000% be walking in shame and condemnation and guilt, which does not come from God. It
No.
is not the good thing that we need to walk in. It just comes from the adversary, the devil, bad, the things that you don't need to be feeling every day.
No.
And if we don't have authority in that, how are we going to stand? How are we going to, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe someone who didn't know God their traits probably reflected a lot of the negative things they felt, like procrastination, disorganization, or unworthy maybe, less than, not good enough. Like, and the reason we feel those things is because we're not walking in our true identity, what God clothes us with, and it has nothing to do with what you can do. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to understand. Like, how does this have not to, like, I can't earn or work or do anything, because even if I sin, you love me. I just did not just because I was so broken. I'd never.
But think about our culture and our consumer society. Like, everything's telling you, like, you are not good enough.
Everything.
So if you slowly start to believe that over time, even in your household, and I'm so
true.
I'm so intentional about how I tell my kids I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I love when you told me that.
And they're like, because I love your heart. You have a beautiful heart. Not because you played so well in your game or performed, like because of who you are. And that, I hope they can give themselves that unconditional love.
Yes.
Because when we can love ourselves unconditionally, like God loves us, we walk in that authority. We walk in that God-given. I mean, it's by His grace too, of course.
Of course, it's so true, Amanda. God has been taking performance off of me. He's been stripping me of performance because I lived 24 years, my whole life, performing for love and performing to be accepted and performing to be seen. I was an athlete. I know were you an athlete as well?
Yeah.
We were both athletes, and I think that competitiveness can come in and play, and I just know that competitiveness, us women, I think we're naturally competitive. I mean, we can't go anywhere really, like, without seeing another supermodel on the screen or another beautiful woman on the thing. And so if you're not secure in yourself, of course you're gonna have envy and bitterness and rage in your heart. But those are not the things of God. Those are not the things that we're supposed to be walking in, and it's so imperative to cut those off right when you know. I am telling you, I have learned, whenever I feel I'm not even kidding, if I feel an inch of jealousy in my heart, I literally get on my knees. I'm like, Jesus,
so good.
Take this out of me. This is so there's nothing uglier than a jealous woman who cannot celebrate other people, and I know that to be true because of my own life. And I just am like, I never want to be that type of person. And I think you have to decide that, like you said.
Decide.
I'm like, I am not being that, because that serves not myself or anyone, and it does not serve God. And have you ever struggled with envy or jealousy? Like, what do you do if you ever feel anything similar?
I think more so on my journey, it's been looking at how God's blessing maybe other people that aren't walking with Him.
That's a big one, man.
Right?
That's true, though. Like, let's just be honest.
Yes.
Like, that is hard. That was hard for me, too. You're not alone in that. Because thinking that, Jesus, oh my gosh, that was when I was walking with Christ and I just became I just became saved. My life was going the whole opposite direction to everyone else's. I was like, what are you doing, God? Like, this is not fun. Everyone else is, like, moving around and, like, going to cool cities, and, like, I have to be living with my parents. Like,
yes.
Why?
Oh my gosh, see,
And then it's just like, but why do we think that why do we feel so prideful? And I think God sees our heart in this, but why do we feel like, who said that that's even better? Why do we think why do we think, because God says that He will never, like, don't you think if we were supposed to have it, He would give it to us?
Yeah.
And so why do we feel so like we need that? Like, why do we feel like we deserve that in a sense? And in some ways, maybe we do. God sees our heart. Like, I have a dream, God. This is something I've always loved.
And He put that in your heart.
Yeah.
Like, right?
But you know what He said to me before? And I'm like, okay, like, talk about being convicted. Like, just that thought, like I want to give this to you, Vanessa, but is this going to glorify you or me? Why do you want this?
Why do you want this?
And He always checks my heart with that, because I think a lot of people do things for others. I don't think they truly even do them for themselves. I think a lot of the reason why people move to a bigger house and not always, but a bigger, I don't know, whatever, anything. I think the reason why they get that car, why they get that outfit, why they get that thing is because they want to prove to other people to feel enough.
Yeah.
I know for me, that's how it's always been. And He had to strip me of that and it was painful. I had a tantrum. Like, I definitely fought through tantrums. I for sure did.
There's been, listen, and this is why we're doing this event, because we like to keep it real, but I think we have enough wisdom and testimony, and and I'm looking at your skin. Vanessa has way more collagen than me.
Oh my gosh!
Because there's an age difference, but talk about just the fact that we're so just like God was. Just put us together for a bigger reason.
No, 100%, and we can talk about that a little bit too. Yeah, so the Healthy Girl Diaries is something we did. Was it back? Has it been?
I know, it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. And it was just something I don't remember how we even, I think we just...
I just know, Vanessa, you are meant to have a ministry.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Amanda is one of the only people, well, many, but you're one of the only people who really, I shouldn't say only, you are one of the few people who call me higher and always help me to see myself, because that has been my biggest struggle, and you know that, and I get in my own way, and I just have never felt,
and this is why, like, it's so important to have these conversations and share them, because we all get in our own way, we all fall short, but God has a big purpose for each and every one of us. It doesn't look like
everyone else,
the cookie cutter, get the big house and get the nice car and work your way up the ladder, like it doesn't have to look like that, and I want to give everyone permission right now to like step into that and like just pray on that and meditate on that, because why?
Some of the happiest people I know, the most joyful, they don't even have a lot of stuff. They just...
who wants a lot of stuff? It's more to take care of.
I swear, Amanda, I used to be like, I want to have like all these things and a million, and do you know what God is doing in my heart? He whispered to me, he goes, I want you to have less. I almost had a heart attack. I literally almost had an aneurysm. I was like,
what?
Are you, please no, God, please not that. Please.
And listen, I will be the first to say I love nice things. I think God created beauty that we're meant to enjoy for sure. Like, I look around my home sometimes, I'm like, I have such a beautiful home. And of course, some days I'm like, oh, I would really love to redo this room. But same thing. I'm like,
why
God,
do we?
Why? For what? So when people come over, they can say, great, and I love this updated room. Like,
parents not affirming me, I think those lies just infiltrated in my head, and I didn't know how to take thought or root of them until Jesus came into my life and was like, hey, you know, I love you for who you are. Like, I love you the way that you look with your natural hair. Like, I love you the way that I created you. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to tweak this and always tweak that? Why, you know? And again, I'm not opposed. I love my facials. I love whatever, all those. I love beauty, like I do, but when you feel like you need to do those things because it's going to make you look better or feel better, it's never going to be enough, because I've done it.
It's never enough, and that's like enough. The dopamine hit, right?
It
like
is.
That's what we're chasing. Yeah, your home.
It won't be enough.
All the things. Yeah. It'll never be enough.
Yeah, and I love that question, like, why? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, and if you can answer that and say, like, oh yeah, I'm totally just trying to, like...
I used to say it because people would say, why? And I'm like, well, for myself. Like, I want to. But then it's like, is that really, like, loving yourself? Like, I don't know. It's like, why did I think it's society, but I'm like, why do we as women equal more things as, like, more fulfillment?
Yeah.
Because the older I've gotten, the less things I get rid of, the better I feel.
Oh, same.
So I don't know what that is.
God spoke this exact line to me, like, and I know I'm made for more, and I think I've been able to hear that more clearly. Like, we're meant to be abundant, but not to just, like, fill your house with stuff and like do all the things and be selfish, right?
Well, right, and like, what is abundance?
What is abundance, right? Like, is it
cars? Is it money? Is it, and it can be.
You get to define that, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's so true. Like, I think defining that is so huge. Right. But God was like, when I bless you with all the abundance and overflow, you stay in this house. Like, I'm not looking to get a bigger home. Good. Like, I've made that vow to him, truly. Like,
that's so good.
When you bless me, I'm not looking to, like, go do all the things, and I want to serve and do more. So
true, Amanda. Like, truly, I really think this is a message people need to hear, because I know it's something I needed to hear, and something that God has been speaking to me a lot about, because we live in a world where marketing, you know, everything on your phone is just trying to steal your time. Even if your joy. Your joy. Marketing things is what I should say. There's a lot of goodness out there. Thank God we have Christians who are in that space. I mean, that's amazing. But even too much of that, is that really your assignment to, like, sit on your... I don't think it's God's will for you to sit on your phone for 7 hours and watch a YouTube video. Like, at some point you have to get up and walk in your purpose and walk in the authority He's allowed you to, and serve the... You know what? This is big, and I think we can talk about this at our event, is serving the people around you who you kind of overlook but think don't need it. So like God has convicted me of this in the past year. Like your husband maybe, or I'm not married yet, but I don't know, maybe my neighbor.
Right.
You don't think, to see those people that God sees, and we have to have a servant's heart. Like it's something God's convicted me of so much, and that's why I love the Healthy Girl Diaries, because it's not about us, it's about others. And so you don't have to put on an event to serve people. That's what I think the message is you can serve the lady at the grocery store and look into her eyes and truly listen to her, or just say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Or hey, it looks like you're struggling, or just smile. Just
I know,
smile.
So many people just walk with their heads down. I'm like, my gosh.
Just smile. Do you know how many people, like, I have, God has just done this thing in my heart, and I'm just like, there is just so many bigger problems than the things I'm making right now. Like, people are suffering and broken, and I have Jesus. So whatever I'm going through is hard, but it is not as hard as someone who doesn't have hope.
Yes. Oh,
you know?
It's so true. And to be able to give that, because you're, again, have a renewed mind, and you have like, you're fueled with joy. Like, we're meant to feel good. We're not meant to live in guilt and shame. And so many young women, especially, and this is why I think, again, I'm like, Vanessa's minister. I said I would pay. I am going to pay.
Yeah.
Just for you to speak to my daughter. I've seen it, and obviously I know you, but you have wisdom and fruit, and it's so easy to see the second you come in contact with you.
Thank you.
So, like, young women need this so much. So, especially with our world and technology and all the things, I think young women are sitting in so much more shame and guilt than ever before.
100%.
But even women my age, and this is why I think this partnership is so powerful, because we're not meant to, like, sit in, like, ick and judgment and shame and guilt and heaviness and bitterness.
And I don't know why I used to think because I went to church and I was a Christian, I had to like my life was going to be like less. That was my like idea of it, And it couldn't be further from the truth. That's such a lie from the devil. That's such a lie from hell, because to think that me going to church, I was above it and it's beneath me, just showed how much pride I had.
Yeah.
Because look at the fruit. Like, you just said you saw me and you would pay for your daughter to, like, talk to me. I mean, that is one of the nicest things anyone has ever said to me. And I can absolutely say, if I did not have Jesus in my heart, you would not be saying that to me. So, like, of course there's going to be fruit of walking with God and those types of things. And it's not for us, it's for others. Why did God come here? Why did Jesus, what did he do? He served other people. So I think the message too is, like, it's about others, but what you have, the world needs. And your friends need you, and not us to be savior, because I've also been the type where I think,
you take on those burdens when they are God's.
When they're God's burdens, and he's like, hey, I didn't ask you to carry that
it's
weight.
that fine line. There's always, like, that fine balance, I think, too.
Well, and I think that, what are some things that, like, you do to balance those types of emotions? Like, what are some things that you do to kind of balance this, but also those thoughts that we were talking about? Like,
I mean, walking in that obedience, right? So, and I think that's something else where, when you have the Holy Spirit guiding you, I believe that I don't want to say dodged bullets, but, like, I guess, I mean, like, that phrasing just doesn't land, but, like, I've dodged maybe more pain. Like, I've ended relationships, because God was like, I just showed you.
And how hard is that?
Right, and people don't understand. They're like, well, I made a mistake. But God told me that in this relationship.
Isn't that hard?
And, like, years later, you can see why. But, again, walking in that and really trusting in that. And it's hard. It's hard because we're in the flesh. We're like, okay, well, this relationship still feels good to me, and it's serving me kind of over here, but really... And
that's hard because, what are people going to... If, these are things that we're not supposed to be carrying, but are real. Like, let's just be honest.
They're real.
Like, what are they going to think of me? Or now everybody's going to talk about, or, and the self-doubt. Was that God? Was that me? The doubt. Like, these things happen. I mean...
Yes.
I mean, there's...
that's something else I think I've really has been powerful in my life is I feel like I can hear God more clearly, and I trust myself in that.
Yes.
Because I listen to him, and I've committed to listening to him and being obedient. You feel like it's just so much easier to walk.
Yes.
And make decisions quicker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. Well, I think when you have a lot of different things clouding your mind, and you don't have Jesus sitting on the throne of your heart, and your heart isn't in that position, I don't think it's wise to really I don't think you'll have the best judgment of character to make decisions,
Which for me, and you're getting married, and you want babies, right?
Yeah, I want so many.
Oh my gosh. If your mind is so clouded, how is that serving your family and your children?
Amanda, look, I look up to you. I always have mom questions for you because I'm already preparing. I couldn't even find my shoes, never mind have a child. I'm like, wait, I mean, you need to be on your stuff. I'm really inspired by that, because I think moms have the hardest and the most fulfilling job, and I don't think they get enough credit. Anytime I see someone who's just, I can't stand when people say someone is just a mom. I mean, I'm like, you mean they're just raising the next generation? Like, they're just instilling beliefs into a child? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's it's the most important role if there is anyone. And so I just think that even myself having to take accountability, think of that as someone listening. You're not doing it for you, you're doing it for your children and their children's children and so forth. And breaking those things now, I mean, I've had to learn how to balance stress management, just for basic responsibilities, making doctor's appointments and not missing it and putting it down on the calendar. I mean, I think those basic things were hard for me. I don't know if they came hard to you, but for some reason, the way my brain was, I had to really overcome disorganization and because I want to be an amazing mom. I mean, and no one's going to be perfect, but is motherhood fulfilling to you? Is it?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Is it because I know people always say nowadays I've heard a lot of, oh, wait to have kids, almost they're a burden.
Wine night, I need wine to deal with my children. I'm oh my gosh.
Why are they such why is it? I don't know. I just want to be different in that sense. And here I am saying this now and then.
I mean, but again, it's like walking with the Lord. It's not for the faint of heart. It's hard. It's challenging. There's obstacles. But if you have that, if you're walking in that faith, and it's so funny, even just stepping out in faith with the business, leaving my job, right? So many people think that that's delusional.
Oh, I know.
Right. I call it faithful. There's a I guess there's a fine line, if you will, but being faithful.
No, it's just having faith. It's living set apart. My whole life, everybody's misunderstood me. They do not understand why I do things I do, and I'm it took me a long time to be look, I don't owe you that. I don't have to justify what God wants me to do. I mean, you're not God, and so what makes you think I'm going to just listen to you and not God above else? And so that took me a long time to get to.
And overcoming that fear of judgment.
Yes, totally, because
which is such a gift to give to your future self.
Yes, isn't it? And I just love how you've done all these different types of things. But going through sanctification, it really opens up your eyes to of us. A lot of the times I bring to God, look, I don't even know why did this trigger me? Why did this affect me? And I think a tangible thing you can do is instead of feeling so much shame, because I've dealt with shame for so long in my life, instead of dealing with the shame, just bringing it to God and being I don't know why I'm like this, and I'm crying out and I need you to fix it. And you aren't the one who's doing it. It's not in your performance or your power, but it's in His power to transform you. And I think that's why we see a lot of women and a lot of people that I look up to. When you go to church and sometimes you can just see that, I mean, now I'm like that, I raise my hands and all these things, but I think there's a level of intimacy you need to have with Jesus, because when I first started going to church, I just thought, I was I don't know why, these people, love Him so much, I think He's amazing, but we have to give ourselves that opportunity to grow with God, for Him to become real in our lives, to see the tangible evidence of Him in our lives, because then you flow from that area. It's easy to see it happen in someone else's life and be that's amazing for you, but when you were some type of way, and he changes you.
Yeah.
You have not. You're like, I can see the power in Christ. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because like
Right.
I've literally seen him transform my life. But maybe someone's not there yet, and that's okay. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
like to be super on fire for
Yeah.
God. And
I think there's just like, you can see like the reverence some people have because they've allowed God, they've given him permission to his heart, which like I've given him permission to the keys in my heart. And so it's like you say that, right? I'll pray that, but then something happens and I'm like, oh no, please don't touch that one, like not there, please, like don't go there. And it's like, I'm only doing it to heal you.
Yeah, I mean, even in my life, I've watched God move mountains that like I could have never done in my own power, in my own strength.
Right.
Right? So there's he's working. You're
Right.
giving it to him. Like
Right.
God, what like
Yeah.
But then there's moments where we do need to, I think, walk in that faithful action place. Like if you're struggling with something so significantly, this is where maybe your faithful step is to seek a mentor or counselor
therapy.
Or right, and really dive in. And honestly, don't stop until you find the person who's really holding you to the fire.
Yes, someone who's gonna truly care enough about you to call you higher in love.
In love, right?
In love,
because
like someone with a true, genuine, pure heart who's gonna like Nick is so that for me, because like we see each other's sides, and I'm sure that's the plus side of having an amazing husband is like they love you no matter what, but they love you enough that they're not gonna let you settle for anything less than what you deserve.
Yes, and we need to stop settling.
We need to stop settling.
This is why we're having this beautiful event for our lovely ladies who want to join us. Okay, so
let's talk about it.
Yeah, what?
So it is
April 6th.
April 6th, 6:30.
So local ladies, take note, mark it down in your calendars. We'll start marketing out on social media, so you can follow the Healthy Girl Diaries, or Vanessa or myself at Amanda DiNardo Coach.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a powerful night. Like, I think the dynamic that you and I bring, I'm more so like learning scripture and the gospel and really being able to like bring that to the work that I do, and even just in my own practice, right? In my own spiritual practice with.
Right. Like I said, it's a journey your own journey with God.
But the practical place of like being able to kind of teach some of the brain science and how to like shift and like really start applying this so that you can walk more fully in that joyful place. Yeah. It's just going to be a powerful, prayerful night, and
I think it's amazing. I love the dynamic because people want tangible like resources. That's why I love giving examples of what does people's lives look like? What do you I love asking people like, what do you do? Like I always love asking questions, because like even just like I admire like a pastor, but I'm like, what do you do? Like, what do you talk to God about? Or like, what is like your quiet time? Like, I know you're living it out, so I want to know like what your schedule looks like. I'm like, so like
make it
because I want to know how I can like I doubt that they're sitting on their phone like playing doodle jump. Like I don't think they're like I don't know, like, and there's room for that, but like I'm sure they're focused and and
but I think, and that kind of aligns with like, okay, so you're like you're asking God to do a work in you, like search my heart, God, I keep falling into this pattern, or I keep seeing this show up in my life, and but what am I going to do? So maybe it is just a matter of you getting more like dialed in with your schedule, like
yeah, you're really good with that with me. But when you say to me, like, I would pay my daughter to talk to you, or I love the wisdom that you have, or whatever, when I think of where that's come from, and I mean, my mom said it upstairs, she goes, I live with Vanessa. She has a heart after God. I see her day in and day out. Like, she's reading her Bible. She's praying. She's doing all of the things. Like, she's not just talking about it and then going home. Like, you have to, there's a level. You
can tell though, right? Like, you can tell when people are just like dialing it in kind of deal.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you can, it's easy to tell, and that's why sometimes hopefully you can tell, because like other times if you can't tell, then it's like almost like a false, like you better be careful what you're listening to.
The discernment, and I say that anytime I speak to a group, even to my clients, I say thank you for trusting me.
Yes.
I do speak truth, but there's so many people who are not. There's so many gurus and clickbaity things out there. You have to be so careful.
Totally.
This is why we pray before we get before we do an event. I pray before I get on calls with clients. I like God use me. Because it's not about me. It's about how I'm serving that person on the other end, and this is what we want to give. To anyone who wants to come out to the Healthy Girl Diary event.
We're so excited, and it'll be super fun, and we're gonna
keep it fun and light, and we want women who want to show up and engage. You don't have to, certainly, but
we just want you to feel loved and accepted. It doesn't matter what religion you are. Just come as you are, and come without feeling like you have to be anything.
Come dressed as you want.
It doesn't matter. Jesus doesn't care about those things, and we're really trying to just emulate that love, and hopefully you just can listen to some girls who've gone through hard things and hard life, but also have seen the beauty. And I was going to end this by saying you can see the tangible fruit in someone's life. And so, like, I'm engaged and there's a ring on my finger now, but every time I look at it, it's not just a ring on my finger. It shows that Jesus calls me a Proverbs 31 woman. Jesus, my identity's in God, and there's power in prayer. Like, when I look at this, I just see like what a devoted prayer life looks like, because I prayed for this for so many years, and I prayed for this, and I pleaded for this, and it reminds me of faith, because I saw something that was impossible that became possible through my faith in Christ. And so I think people need to walk in that, and there's a lot of people who don't have hope. And so I love your message of hope. I love how we're connecting to try to just give a message of hope and hard truth. And I just think that so many, who doesn't need that? I'd be the first one there. No, I'm not biased, but like I would be like, wait, I need a seat there. We need more
of this.
Like, you deserve this.
Where else are you finding? And again, we're not. This is not being boastful. We're not speaking from this. We're women.
When you partner with God, He makes it happen. And when you partner with God, He is on a mission to set people free.
Yeah.
And there's things that you have that you need for yourself and for other people. And so I think it's just a service to other people, but it's also a service to you, because you deserve to love yourself. I didn't know it. I've never had self-love before I met God and did all of this stuff. And people are like, you love yourself, and how? I'm like, this was so hard, but let me tell you, I have the key to it. Let me give it to you.
We're giving you the keys.
We're giving you the keys. Like, let me tell you how to walk with joy. And you walk into a place, and people are like, why are you so bright? And you have peace that makes no sense. And you have the key to life, and everyone's going this way, but you're like, no, I'm choosing to stand by Jesus. I'm choosing to stand for good. I'm choosing to forgive. I'm choosing to be a beautiful woman, because I also deserve that, because I've never given myself the chance. So it's like, give yourself that chance.
You know what? I want to ask you this, and maybe, again, all the listeners can ground in this too. Mm-hmm. If you weren't walking with God, what do you think your life would look like?
Such a good question.
Like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what would it look like?
Oh my gosh. So if I wasn't walking with God, in 5 years, I think I would have married the wrong person. I think I absolutely would have picked somebody I would have settled for somebody who just maybe had a specific appearance that I wanted, like someone on my list that I thought would have been good for me. And then when we were together, I think I would have just realized that looks isn't everything. And I think that person, I just think I would have picked the wrong husband. And I also think I would have been so selfish. I promise you, I would have been so selfish. I would have been so self-absorbed. Everything I would have done would have been for myself. Yeah. And I just think I would have been successful, Amanda. You know what, to be completely honest, I truly think with my mindset, I would have been so successful at whatever I would have wanted to do. In all the worldly ways. And I think I would have had a lot more friends. And I think I would have been a lot cooler, to be completely honest. But that's the price you pay. At the end of the day, I would have had nothing. Because I don't have Jesus.
You would have been like spiritually and emotionally bankrupt.
Yeah. I would have been, I wouldn't have, and I would have no identity. So I would put my confidence in the way that I looked. Yep. I would put my confidence
which fades, so that's even more detrimental.
I would be so bitter because I'd be so unforgiving because I grew up in a house where, you know, my dad and I weren't always the best, and I would never extend grace to people because I would hurt.
So
You know what I would
you'd
do?
have disjointed relationships
I would hurt
even
people.
with family.
I truly would hurt people
Yeah.
constantly because I would have been really hurt and broken. And hurt people.
Yeah.
But when you make a decision, I mean, I always say, God chose me. I didn't choose him. Like, he found me in the dirt, and he picked me up, placed me on my feet, and put a crown on my head. So it's insane how much he loves us and fights for us and knows our hearts. But there's a level that you do have to choose God too, because he's a gentleman, and he's not gonna force you to do anything. You have to choose. You have to meet him halfway, and I think even meet him more than halfway. Give him more than just 5 minutes in your day.
Yeah.
Like, make him your life and watch how your life changes.
It's so powerful. I wish, like, and this is what I hope that people, like, truly walk away with in their heart and soul and just feel that. And that's why I like just being in person and being able to connect with the event. Like, what is the cost?
Yeah, everything.
If you don't start loving yourself and walking with the Lord and
so true.
Like deciding what you want out of your life and what God's called you to.
When you decide that, everything changes because you look at everything very different. You look at the cost of things different. You look at a life coach and you're like, you're priceless. Or you look at having a conversation with a friend who's so wise and you're like, I want to give you my life.
Yeah,
like I would, if I had millions of dollars, I would give it to you because you just gave me something that prevented me from so much hurt. And that's priceless. Women of God are priceless. You walk priceless. There's no amount of money that can make you walk differently because there's no amount of money that you could put on who God is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't. Well, anyways, the camera died, so we just had to let it go. We
could go on and on. But you'll hear more from us. And it's not just going to be us talking at the Healthy Girl Diary.
Yeah.
We want to engage. We want to do some, I'll do some live coaching.
Yeah.
Like, we can